Hello and God bless you. I'm Pastor James Jackson.
And I'm Pastor Wayne Moore.
Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. We have a great show for you on today, and I think you're going to be tremendously blessed.
Yes.
I want to encourage you to continue sharing on your social media this show and letting people know that we're on. And also go to our YouTube channel, the WHMB TV 40 YouTube channel, and subscribe.
Yeah, I think if you do that for us, we'll make sure you get quality information about community and current events and do what we can to help you understand what's going on in your immediate area.
Yeah, we've been talking about a lot of things that impact the quality of life in the
Right.
city of Indianapolis and throughout central Indiana, Dr. Moore. And I think today we have some exciting information with regard to expungement.
Yes, and that's a very serious issue in all communities.
Yeah.
Young men who have had issues with felonies, we have a remedy for that today to put them back into the mainstream based on some procedures that must take place with our guest who's going to give us all the information we need.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times someone, male or female, will get out of prison or
Right.
jail and, you know, they've got that felony.
Right.
And there's a lot of jobs that you can do with a misdemeanor.
Right.
But most companies will not hire you
no,
with a felony.
No, and I think that's a problem in our community where a lot of young people have made mistakes. Some of them are good young people. They just made mistakes early, and they've paid their due to the justice system. Now they just need a second chance.
Yeah.
And we hope that our attorney today, very professional young lady, can help us understand how to get this done.
Yeah, so stay tuned right here to Real People, Real Voices, and please let someone know, even now, let someone know, let a family member know, let a friend know, let a relative know that we're on the air talking about expungement, because we want to make sure that those individuals who are looking to advance in life, who want to be successful, we want them to understand that they do have a second chance. Here's an answer to prayer. So stay tuned right here to WHMB TV 40. We're going to be back in just a bit. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. And we have an exciting guest on today, Ms. Dana Phillips. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for coming. And I'm going to ask Dr. Moore if you would introduce our guest today. Of course, we know her name's Dana Phillips, but some of the background.
Yeah, Dana has done extensive work in prosecutor's office and other places in the law profession, but now she's with Lee and Fairman, attorneys at law, and so I'm gonna let her give her spiel about her resume. She can do better with that than I can.
Well, as you mentioned, I have been a practicing attorney for a little over 8 years here in Indianapolis, and I am currently at Lee and Fairman with Nathaniel Lee. We are a full-service law firm, and we cover a wide range of legal issues from civil rights and general civil litigation, whether that's personal injury or accidents, as well as Social Security and workman's comp benefits. We also handle probate work, estate work. I do some criminal defense, and I do a great deal of work in the expungement law area.
How is that going? Tell us how you became so active in the expungement area.
Well, I started my practice as a contract attorney with the Department of Child Services, and there I did contracts, leases, and some work, very limited work on the administrative side of CHINs. And I saw a trend with a lot of the CHINs work that many fathers who were finding themselves without their driver's license were their license had been suspended for unpaid child support, and the issues that they had was many had criminal backgrounds where they weren't able to secure employment to be able to take care of the children that they'd had. From there, I went to the prosecutor's office, and it was an ongoing repeat problem that you would see, whether with the juvenile division or with the misdemeanor division, where I ended at the prosecutor's office. And shortly before my time there was done, we were fortunate enough to have the second chance law, which is the official name of the expungement law, be ratified and changed in July of 2013. And the court I was in at the time had the highest volume of initial petitions. So I got the opportunity to work with the prosecutor who was over the expungement committee and really study the law, understand the law, how it applies, what the prosecutor's position was on certain convictions, and how to move forward in reviewing the petitions that came before me.
That's great.
So Attorney Dana, when you start talking about expungement, and thank you for giving that detail, expungement really means second chance.
Yes.
So when we start talking about second chance, is there a certain level when it comes to a felony where a person doesn't qualify?
There is a level where you do not qualify, and it's considered if you are an official, if it's a sex offense or a violent crime against an individual, if you have been convicted of 2 or more felonies at the same time or within the same year, and one of them involved a deadly weapon. In those instances, expungements are incredibly difficult to obtain.
But it happens.
I personally have not pursued any, but I only know of one instance in which it did happen. That was not here in Marion County, mind you. That was in Lake County, but there was other evidence that I learned that was involved that showed that the individual who was convicted of the crime actually had a different role in the conviction of the crime. But expungements work from as low level of a crime as a misdemeanor all the way to some serious level felonies. Now, traditionally in Indiana, the felony levels were they used a letter system. It was A down to D. Right now, they're using a number system from 1 to 6. So anyone who has a felony now that would try to get it expunged that would be eligible, it would have to be a letter instead of a number with their felony. But A felony and B felony, you hear that term and you think it's a very serious offense. Oftentimes, I've had clients where they've had A felony and B felony burglaries or A felony possession or dealing in narcotics. Different levels of narcotics, but still just the amount took it to that higher A level. Those are not considered the serious felonies that are ineligible to be expunged. So, just to make it clear to everyone watching, if it is an A felony or B felony and it's involving a high level of narcotics, whether it's marijuana, heroin, doesn't matter the drug, or if it's a controlled substance versus an illegal substance, if it's on a side where it's purely related to drugs, then you still are eligible. But there are specific requirements. And one thing you mentioned at the very beginning, with felonies, it's not just felonies where people are finding themselves struggling to get jobs. Conversion is the least form of theft that you can have as a conviction, but it still means that you've stolen something, and it's a misdemeanor. So oftentimes you'll see people with conversions as misdemeanors, and they have those convictions, and they'll still be overlooked for employment simply because a conversion equals a theft.
Oh, that's good information.
Yes.
Your success rate with Lee and Fairman as it relates to expungement or second chance law?
Well, I am proud to say that I have been fortunate enough to be very successful with my expungements. Having worked at the prosecutor's office, I was able to develop a great relationship with the prosecutor that oversees expungements. And honestly, Marion County, we're really fortunate that we have a prosecutor who understands the purpose of the law.
Who would that prosecutor be?
Terry Curry.
Okay.
Well, and by prosecutor, I mean the prosecutor.
I know what you mean.
So Terry Curry, he understands the purpose of the law. He understands the importance of the law, especially being in his position where you're running an office that prosecutes individuals and creates convictions and convicted felons, and also have a division that you're overseeing to ensure child support is paid from a lot of times the same individuals whom you're prosecuting. So the prosecutor's office, they work diligently with the petitions. If there are issues, then the staff is very friendly. They'll give you a call and let you know these are the things that we're looking for. They'll say ahead of time, if this is a problem that your client has with their petition, I can tell you now, you will need to address that and either address it in a hearing or see if we can address that without having a hearing.
Well, in our next segment, Dr. Moore-Dana, I want to talk about if I am watching and I have a misdemeanor or a felony, want to talk about the process.
Sure.
Because you don't often drive down the highway and see a sign that says expungement or second chance, call this number.
Right.
You don't often have a commercial come on television talking about that, so it could be difficult trying to get it done.
Would it be unethical to talk about how to get a person financially situated to talk about that?
No, it would not be unethical. Of course, it's a case-by-case situation
Right.
based on the level of the offense, how old the offense is. The older cases can be difficult because if there's not any information showing where fees have been paid or that you successfully completed probation, then that requires going to the microfilm office and trying to find those cases. But it's case by case. But sure, I'll be glad to explain how the process
The next segment, Reverend.
Yeah, so this is very interesting.
I think it is. I think a lot of people in the community need to hear this,
Yeah.
and it also lets us know that our situations and some of the people in the community situations are not hopeless, and they can get a second chance.
That sounds like God.
Yeah, and he's using Lee and Fairman to get it along with Miss Dana. So we need to make sure that it happens.
All right, so we'll be back in just a few moments. Stay tuned right here to Real People, Real Voices. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Exciting information on today.
Dana is doing a great job. She's doing what we anticipated she would do. She has some other things she wants us to know. Let's see if we can get right to it.
Yeah, let's talk about that process.
Sure. Well, to initially qualify for an expungement, if you have a misdemeanor or if it was a D felony that was reduced to a misdemeanor, it has to be 5 years from the date that you are convicted. And I'd have to stress convicted. A lot of people think, well, I didn't complete probation for a year, or it took me 2 years because I was violated on probation. It's actually the date that you were convicted. So today is September 13th, 2016, and if your conviction was September 12th of 2011, you have now, as of today, become eligible if it's a misdemeanor. If it is a D felony, which would be something like auto theft or a general theft, if you were a juvenile and you got in trouble at school and fought a teacher, those are felonies that, battery felonies, then it is a minimum of 8 years from the date that you are convicted. And 8 years is the requirement, whether it's a D felony, a C felony, it's a minimum of 8 years. Now, when you get to the higher level felonies, which I mentioned before, the B felonies, the A felonies, even a B felony burglary, which simply means that you broke into someone's home, as opposed to a C level burglary, which means it was not a dwelling by law's definition, a dwelling or a place where someone lived. Those are eligible at, a B felony would be eligible after 10 years. An A felony as well would be eligible after 10 years.
10 years after the
10
conviction.
years after the date of the conviction, yes.
That's a long time to be unemployed.
It is a very
being
long
released.
time.
Yeah.
But the one thing that the legislatures did get right with this law, and they constantly change it every year, which helps improve things, the chances of getting an expungement for those who have been convicted. If you do have a situation where it's not quite been the 5 years, the 8 years, or the 10 years, you can petition for early expungement by filing a petition with the prosecutor's office.
Oh,
and
okay.
I've done those as well and have been successful with those, with seeking permission from the prosecutor's office to have the record expunged early.
So if someone wants to get the ball rolling, what would be the first thing they would need to do after watching this show?
First thing would be to give me a call. The number to the law firm is 631-5151, and that's area code 317. Ask for Dana Phillips. I set up an appointment, an initial consultation, and the initial consultation is free. There's no charge at all. I go through criminal history and make sure that every criminal conviction you have, even if it's a case where it was dismissed, we have all of that information. Once we have that, then we'll discuss the options of filing petitions. And I'm not just limited to Marion County. I've had expungements granted in Hamilton County and Hancock County. I have one that I am working on in Vanderbilt County and a couple that are coming up in Lake County. So it does not matter the area. The law is the same throughout the state for Indiana. Give me a call. We set up the petition. There's vital information that I have to receive. Each petition has to include a Social Security number, but the number is redacted because technically and by law, the petitions themselves are not confidential. Now, once the judge signs the order granting the expungement, then the petition becomes confidential, and the orders are always confidential because it includes address information, it includes Social Security numbers, birth dates, and those cannot be viewed by anyone other than the court staff themselves.
You know, this is really exciting.
Yeah.
And every, in my opinion, every pastor, every educator, every leader should have your phone number. Because we have people come to us all the time.
Yeah, you and I just worked with a situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gave him your number.
Yeah, and I passed it on to Dana. And what law firm was that?
Lee and Fairman.
Okay, because you said, yeah, okay, we didn't want to
Yeah,
make
I
sure.
didn't want to give him your number.
You're right, and we give them to the right people.
But I had to do something.
Yeah, and we helped him.
Yeah.
We helped him, and so that's what it's all about. I think that when we look at this in this right context, this is. But getting back to that, say I am eligible now. What is it going to cost me?
Well, there's a filing fee for every conviction that has to be paid, and that's $156.
To get me started.
To get started, there's the $156. There is no waiver of the filing fee. Unfortunately, Governor Pence did sign an executive order when the expungement law first changed for a year and a half. You did not have to pay a filing fee if you had a conviction because it was a barrier that most people couldn't overcome. Now that time has passed and the order has expired. It has not been re-signed. He's a little busy right now doing other things. So there's the $156 filing fee that you have to file. In terms of the cost, it varies. It's based on my hourly rate. And my hourly rate, it depends on if it's a misdemeanor or a felony, if it's more than one, if it's an older crime, conviction, rather. And the older that the conviction is, the more research that will be needed.
And that's why I asked, because, a lot of people become discouraged because they don't understand, number one, the process, and number two, if they did understand the process, they don't understand, because they're unemployed, how they're going to get resources to make this happen.
Well, and I want to say to you, Dana, that this show, Real People, Real Voices, the first 3 people that call and say, I saw the show, Real People, Real Voices, that we'll sponsor them, the filing fee.
Okay.
The filing fee.
The first 3 people will sponsor their filing fee.
That'd be great.
Filing fee.
Okay, if they call you, you get us the names, and we'll sponsor those filing fees for you.
Absolutely.
Not your hourly rate.
Not the hourly rate. Repeat that to me, Dana. Filing fee.
Filing fee,
Okay.
yes, and I will make sure to stress that.
All right, we'll take care of the first 3 people.
Well, and I tell people I understand the situations with expungements. I work with people. I don't have a problem if you're not working or if someone is helping you to set up payment arrangements. We're certainly, that's one of the crux of our law firm. We are here to help people as best as we can. So anytime there's a call about an expungement, I let people know, I'll need you to cover the filing fee. And if you can cover the first hour of work, which usually ranges between $250 to $400, depending on the amount of work that I'll need to do and how old the case is, if you can cover that basic amount, then we can establish a payment plan for the remainder.
And that's worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it.
You're talking about you get a job, you have the second chance. And now, if the employer hires the person and they've had the expungement and their Social Security number goes in, does that mean that that information doesn't come up?
The way the expungement works, it's twofold. If it's an expungement of just an arrest, and I have had several clients where they were arrested and charged, they either received a diversion from the prosecutor's office where the case was eventually dismissed, or they received an outright dismissal because they took it to trial, no one showed up, or they were found not guilty. In those instances, it's considered a non-conviction petition. So anytime there's a petition for a non-conviction offense, You only have to wait 1 year from the date you were actually arrested, not from the date that you were finally cleared. The date you were arrested, 1 year. Once the order is granted, then it is completely deleted out of the system.
That's great.
And it's as if it never happened.
Great.
And that's one of the great things that changed with the law and took effect in 2015. As long as there was no conviction, you never see it in the system. It doesn't even show that you were ever arrested for anything.
All right. Well, Dana, thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Thank you for stopping by today.
Remember, 3.
3 people,
Three.
yes. 3 filing fee.
Filing fee, yeah, you got it.
And God bless you all for joining us on today. And please stay tuned for Shawana Ray. She's going to close us out today.
When I needed help, when I didn't even know myself, when I was caught deep in sin, no one cared to take me in. No, when life seemed unbearable, when I wasn't so careful, when life tends to throw me blows, when I don't know where to go, it was you. It was you as a friend, it was you who saved the lane, and I never understand. When no one could pay the price, when no one could make it right, when there was trouble in the land, who